whatever it was that was taking place. But let me go ahead and do a test run to kind of see exactly what it is that's happening. My apologies for that. I do apologize. I wasn't aware that there was something kind of going on in the background. I wasn't aware that you guys weren't hearing what it is that I was saying. Let me see if I could adjust this. And I'm also gonna see through here, right? I'm gonna log in and I'm gonna click on this and I'm going to see if I can actually hear what it is that's going on, and then I'll proceed to, get the message out. But that's rather unfortunate because I had a lot of really, really great things to say, but I'm okay with saying it again because it's coming from the heart, it's coming from the soul, it's coming from the spirit. So, yeah, let's just see what it is that's going on here. I'm just making sure that you guys can actually hear what it is that I'm saying. My apologies again for the fact that. Oh, you can hear me now. No, 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 no. No need to apologize. And I do apologize for actually what just transpired as well because I actually got a phone call as well, so that kind of shut everything off. So yeah, that all actually played a part as well. But thank you so much. Um, Someone says, "Hey, what? Thank you so much, Regan Riggs. I appreciate that." Someone says, "Hey, what's up, James or Curry?" Both. I like them both for different reasons. I think they're both spectacular athletes. I think they're outstanding men. I think there are role models for children. I think children can kind of look to those guys and see that they stay out of trouble and that they focus on what it is that what their mission is. So, yeah, thank you again, Reagan Riggs. I appreciate that. As a matter of fact, Reagan Riggs, you've been helping out so much. You don't have to, but I would like it if at some point, oh, no, at some point you can become a moderator. So I'm sending you that request. If you would like to, you can actually accept. But I would really appreciate that. I think you did a phenomenal job just now. But yeah, guys, back to what it is that I was saying before we had the technical difficulties. Terrence B says, "Good morning. Grace and peace be unto you. God bless you." Thank you so much, Terrence B. And I wish for you the same as well. He says, "My second day in your channel, and I appreciate you returning. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you." So today, really what it is that I wanted to get into, right? What I really wanted to speak about today is, the fact that sometimes we need to just let things go, right? A lot of times we consider ourselves people of faith, whatever that faith is, right? Now, for the most part, if you guys are returning, right, you may or may not know that I'm not a very religious person, right? But I do have faith in the universe, right? Whatever that really means. And I know that sounds really vague, but I think things are going to work out the way that they're supposed to work out. So, with that being said, a lot of times when things do happen these days, it wasn't always like this, right? When I was a younger man, when I was a teenager, at different times in my life, I just had the spirit of revenge, right? Especially because I didn't feel like I was going out there and doing things to people. So I felt like if anyone did something to me, like I would have it on my heart and I would keep it on my heart and it would weigh me down and I would not realize how much it was weighing me down, right? And I wasn't able to really get to the point where I had to learn to let things go until my marriage, right? Or until everything kind of transpired with my marriage, and I didn't realize the type of person that I was married to, right? Until they were quote unquote unhappy, and just how destructive they were. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm not gonna be up here just pointing fingers or anything like that, but I know what it is that I went through. I remember the gaslighting. I remember the lying. I remember the manipulation, right? And then even when I moved out and moved away, right? I remember the court documents. I remember the lies that were told there. I remember the fact that I wasn't able to see my kid as often as I wanted to. Just kind of that sort of whole thing happening, right? And I remember just feeling this overwhelming feeling of rage, of anger, right? That I really had to sit with. And I remember how it felt, right? Being in that state of being, just existing in that state of being, just the frustration. and constantly thinking back to it, right? Whatever it is that I was doing, I was unable to immerse myself completely into it because I was always thinking about it. It would always just pop up in my head, right? Especially the fact that I'm not capable of being a father to my child, right? As far as the material things, whatever the material things are, it's cool, whatever. Take that, right? But just the things that really, really matter, right? Those are the things that, for me, just really made me understand the lens that some people are willing to go to, right? And this isn't a therapy session or anything like that, so I'm not going to get too deep into it, right? But I had to learn over time to just release that energy that I had, that pent up energy, that anger, that aggression, right? Then it got to the point where whenever my ex would pick a fight, I would just completely ignore. I just wouldn't say anything. You understand what I'm saying? I would just divert my attention and turn my attention somewhere else until it got to the point where it was like, all right, well, now they see that things that they do, they don't get a reaction out of me anymore, right? So now they have no choice but to really back off because now they're realizing that they're wasting their energy, right? And then it got to the point where it's like now, it's like you sort of see where that disrespect, you kind of see the shame on their faces. You know what I mean? Whenever you look at them at some point in the future, right? And you could interpret it as shame, and you may be empathetic towards what it is that they're doing or what's going on with them. But letting go of that situation does not mean that you have to put yourself in that situation again, right? Forgive, yes, for your own sake, especially. Move on, yes, right? But don't hold it to your heart. That weighs you down, that draws you back, and it keeps you from living your best, absolute best life, right? So I had to learn to just let it go. Whenever I am able to see my daughter, right? Whenever I do see my daughter, I make sure that she has the time of her life. I make sure that she knows that her father loves her beyond belief, right? As far as even going as far as saying to my daughter, hey, listen, I want things to be great for you, right? Once things do even out, right? And daddy starts doing the things that he's supposed to do, I'm going to make sure you guys are okay, right? Even despite the fact that everything that her mom did, right? For my daughter's sake, I want to make sure that things are okay for them. You understand what I'm saying? And that is a level that years ago, I did not see myself getting back to that level, right? Especially having somebody that you held in such high regard, that you kind of saw the best in, that you ignored their flaws, and you were willing to look past certain things in order to make them happy, right? So yeah, again, that's something that I had to really learn to do, and I was actually forced into learning to do that, right? So, had it not been that situation when my daughter was born and I had a child with her, I probably still would not have known how to forgive, right? But because I have a child with her, I have to kind of look at the fact that, yeah, well, you know what? Something wonderful came out of this whole situation, right? So let's just evolve and just, be cordial. You get what I'm saying? So I had to learn how not to hate. I had to learn how not to keep things on my heart. And if you are a person who considers yourself spiritual or considers yourself religious or whatever it is, yet you're still out here fighting these third dimensional battles with people who are at war with themselves, right? It's like you're here operating at this vibration or this frequency, right? They are operating at a completely different frequency, right? And now you're speaking, listen, you're elevating, you're moving yourself up, right? In terms of the frequency that you're on, moving yourself up, right? And now in order to communicate with this person that refuses to evolve, that's dwelling down here, right? In order for you to speak their language, you have to lower your frequency. So now when you lower your frequency, what happens now? Now you're speaking their language. Now your language is anger. Now your language is manipulation. Now your language is lying, right? Now your language is curse words. Now your language is everything that you were elevating yourself away from, elevating yourself beyond. You get what I'm saying? Right? So don't drop your frequency in order to communicate with other people whose frequency is down here. Right? Continue to elevate your frequency. Right? And then you realize, man, that other stuff, that's a language that I don't even really speak. All right, you know what? We're not gonna do the mic today. All right? The mic is kind of getting in the way. I just want this to be me just straight up just talking directly to you guys. Right? But yeah, guys, we sincerely have to learn how to let things go. It's okay to let things go, right? We only grow when we let it go. You understand what I'm saying? Otherwise, you're stuck in that vibration. You're stuck in that frequency. 50 years go by, 40 years go by. You're still in that frequency. You're still thinking about something that happened 50 years ago, right? You don't want to be stuck in that frequency, right? When people cast these spells, break these spells, right? When people try to gang up on you and manipulate other people to join and point fingers at you, break those spells, right? Be firm, be strong, be who you are, be who you were put here to be, right? Have the experience that you were meant to have. And, it's just one of those things, guys. I just see it very often, and I just figured I'd just share something that kind of happened to me with you guys. But yeah, let me go through and read some more of these things that you guys have said. I really appreciate everyone that's participating. Terrence B, big up yourself. Mr. Reagan Riggs, I appreciate you, my guy. Thank you so much. Sean O'Brien says, nah, let's talk politics. Let's not talk politics right now. Maybe sometime later on today, we could probably do a little bit of politics, but not right now. We're talking about something completely different right now. Terrence B says, you're a black man, and as a fellow black man, I realized I don't support a lot of black men on YouTube the way I should. I feel like I start with you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Trust me, I know how I feel. We took the same. We look the same age. I'm 34. I'm actually, yeah, no, I'm headed toward 34. Terrence B, big up yourself. I'm not quite 34 yet, but I'm heading there. Hey man, that sucks. I'm sorry. Reagan, listen, man, I needed it to evolve. And it's crazy. It's crazy that I'm saying that I needed that to evolve, because it doesn't feel like growth does never feel as good when you're going through it, right? So think about going through situations where you're losing everything that you acquired, right? Everything that you felt like you worked so hard for is just dwindling and going away, right? And then you get to the point where you start to realize, man, well, you know what? The things that I identified with, right, that I thought were a part of me are not really a part of me. These are just material things, right? And of course, we're not talking about it on the spiritual terms, because everything really is one thing, right? But I needed to lose these things in order to grow spiritually, right? There are things with myself that I didn't realize, right? Because you never really realize. Mentioned you in their post, okay? Because there are things that were happening in my life that I didn't really realize on a spiritual level that I needed to fix, right? So my third dimensional self that was stuck in this third dimension wasn't paying attention to those aspects of myself, right? And it wasn't until I was, certain things just started to just happen, right? I just felt like the entire world was just closing in. I felt like everything that was wrong was happening all at one time, and in that particular season in my life, right? But I have to say, the spiritual growth that came from that, it's been absolutely amazing, right? So it's one of those things where you kind of have to go through it in order to grow, right? And you have to grow through it, right? That's just how we evolve a lot of times. You get what I'm saying? And again, the programming, the way that I was looking at it was based on the way that I was programmed to look at life, right? On my programming ever since I was a kid. So I had to reset my program, and just jump back into life, right? Since then, lost everything, got back on my feet, doing my thing right now. Started this YouTube channel not too long ago, right? Started, I think, I wanted to really do football content, but then it just evolved into this, right? And I needed to go through that in order to get to this point. I needed to go through that in order to teach my daughter certain things about life. I needed it. You understand what I'm saying? But it's made me so much wiser. I now pay attention. I pay attention to red flags whenever I do see red flags in a female, right? I pay attention to a lot of intangibles, right? I'm mostly focusing on the things that people can't necessarily see, touch, taste, and smell and hear, right? So, yeah, I look at life through with more spiritual eyes than I did prior to those things happening. So I am grateful for it, even though it did hurt, even though it was painful. Man, the growth from it was absolutely remarkable. So, yeah, Reagan Riggs, it's nothing. I don't feel sorry for myself. It happened. It's done. And as Ghost Rain says, God is good. Big up, Ghost Rain. Big up to yourself. Yeah, guys, we still got some people in here, so let's get that like count up. Let's also get the subscription count up. I think we could hit 330 today before I take off, because I will be back at some other point today, right, while I'm at work, and then later on tonight, you guys already know 11:30. That's the planned stream, and I really do appreciate you, Terrence B, for saying you're gonna support. I appreciate that. Somebody says, "Do you dye your hair? It looks fake, Shardy." I actually do not dye my hair. I don't put any sort of products like that in my hair, other than oil. But whatever, if that floats your boat, go ahead. Pay attention to the message. Stop paying attention too much to superficial things, right? It's just hair, right? It's just hair. Life's all about growing, man. Absolutely. Terrence B says, I'll be 35 in September 1st. Wow, we got something else in common, man, because I'm also a Virgo. I am September 15th. Big up yourself, man. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. I appreciate that, Terrence B. Yeah, man, I'm September the 15th. My mom is September the 7th. You know, so yeah, I'm a September baby. I was actually supposed to be born in August, but you know, I was stubborn. I just stuck around till September. Ashra says, I bet. 76, what's up, man? Big up to you, 76. Thank you so much for joining. Really appreciate you. That's 76 is our fam from over there in Germany, by way of England. Big up to my guy, 76. Ashar Nabi says, I bet. Okay, I bet. He says, I bet 3 times. Which version of Trevor Ariza? Okay, I guess. Whatever you say. He says, you know, sometimes some things might not seem able to fix on its own. So it's when people go to turn to spiritual, religious remedies. Well, I'd say more spiritual than religious. I don't think there's a religion around that I would really feel comfortable joining, because I think that we all just are, we're all, even though we're all one, we're all so unique as beings, right? I don't think there's a one size fits all. I don't think there's a one instruction manual that all of us can just be like, all right, cool, this is the instruction manual. I think there are things that we do need to consider, right? The fact that we are all here sharing this planet, right? I say this all the time, and somebody actually said this years ago. If you feel like you're better than us, then why don't you just, you know, build a rocket and go to another planet? You understand what I'm saying? But yeah, it's just one of those things, guys. I don't really subscribe too much to religion, because I see how religion really divides people, and how religion kind of just preys on people's fear and their emotions, and it's real third dimensional, right? You know, they talk about streets of gold and hell and heaven, and you know, all of these things that I don't particularly believe in. I think, you know, I believe in spirituality. I think that we're all just spiritual beings, you know, and that's true to me. That's something that I hold true. I just think we're all spiritual beings, and I don't think anyone is above anyone else, right? I think, you know, yeah, that's what I think. All right, Bogdan. I don't even want to engage in that. I have 2 sons under 5, and you're speaking the truth about everything. Terrence B, I appreciate that, man. I know exactly what that's like. I got a daughter. I only have one daughter. I only have one child. And sort of the stuff that I kind of went through with my ex, I just want to make sure that if I do have another, if I'm blessed to have another child, that it will be with the right person, because I do want that family structure. I don't just want to have children that are around in the world and can and do not communicate with their father, right? So, and then sometimes, it's just best to really step back from a situation. Be a part of your child's life. Don't let anybody keep you from your child. Nobody. But sometimes it's best, especially if you and the mother can't get along, right? To not have the child see that sort of stuff. You dig what I'm saying? So yeah, sometimes some things just happen for the greater good, and we don't even realize it in the moment until later on down the line. Then we see that, man, if that didn't happen, then it wouldn't have brought us closer. And trust me when I tell you that. Don't just think that things are always going to be how they are right now. Just if you're not able to see your kid, or you don't see your kid as often as you should, as every father needs to, whenever you do see your kid, just keep reinforcing the fact that they matter to you more than anything else. You understand what I'm saying? And believe me when I tell you that the kid is going to come around, and the kid is going to realize what true love is, because you're able to give that kid the true love that that kid really, really needs. Yeah, man, that's it. I bet. Okay. Rachel Illis passed away. Misty from Pokemon. You're going to binge watch Pokemon? I'm not entirely sure what exactly you're talking about, to be honest with you. Somebody said, "What's this talk about?" Well, this talk is about letting things go, right? Letting things go and not holding on to, too much toxicity, right? Because we don't recognize in a moment what this toxicity is really doing to us long term, right? You take on these things, you take on the toxicity, right? And you start to damage yourself inside to outside, right? And we don't understand, like we fail to understand how important our thoughts are, and how important our perspective is, and how important it is to the health of our body, right? The thoughts that you think, right? And this isn't me giving you any medical advice or anything like that. I'm not here to be doctor or anything, right? But the thoughts that you think, right, can actually make you sick, right? Can actually set off chemical imbalances in your body. That's how powerful our thoughts are, right? So then why would we now, knowing that, choose to think negatively? Choose to set off, because look, you can think a thought, whatever that thought is, it could be something extremely aggressive, right? And you could just feel your body chemistry start to change. You could just feel your eyebrows start to just clench up, right? And everything about you just starts to, just get tensed up and all of that sort of stuff, right? And now what happens is there's a chemical reaction in your body, and your body is producing chemicals that aren't necessarily, now if you're doing that for a long period of time, the chemicals that your body is producing, it's actually doing more harm than good to yourself, right? Because you're unable to let it go. Let it go, let it pass through, right? Hence why we go to the bathroom, right? Let it pass through. Don't hold on to these things, you know what I mean? Says somebody said Vincent Smith, big up to Vincent Smith. Says thoughts are from the devil. They come out of nowhere. It's the devil trying to manipulate you. Thinking and thought are two different things. Okay. I could understand your explanation of that. In a little bit. I could kind of understand what it is that you're saying. However, I don't necessarily know if it's the devil that's putting the thoughts into your head. I think it's more like the ego, right? If you want to say the ego is the devil, I think some people do say the ego, the ego is the devil. And usually, especially if you're a spiritual person, you'll realize that the silent voice, that silent, calm voice that's inside of you, that's the voice that you should listen to. Years ago, when I was going to do something really, really drastic, right? Something really, really, you get what I'm saying. It's that silent voice that was inside of my head. Silent. very silent. That was like, yo, just walk away. Just walk away. Just leave. Right? And guess what I did? I didn't listen to the loud voice in my head. I didn't listen to my emotional self. I didn't listen to my ego. It was that soft, mellow voice with no emotion. Just leave. That I listened to. Right? And what did I do? I just left. Right? Had I not left, Lord knows what would have happened. So yeah, that's my whole thing. You know what I mean? It's a more objective voice. It's not a voice that's coming from your emotions, because a lot of times when we're emotionally invested into a situation, we don't necessarily make the right moves. The moves that we make are not good. Vincent Smith says the ego is the devil. Okay. I'm not spiritual. It found me. Big up yourself. Reagan Riggs says some people might not believe in the devil. Yeah, it's one of those things. Yeah, the ego, if you want to call it the devil, I guess it's a name that you give to something. Um, you know, but yeah, I don't think there's like a little guy somewhere that's like poking people in the ass or whatever it is. Pardon my French, with this fork, or any of that sort of stuff. I just, um, it's not it's really a spiritual thing. I think we a lot of times we personify things. I think we do have positive and we have negative. I think one doesn't exist without the other. But yeah, that whole concept of what the devil is and who the devil is. If even if the devil exists, like, I don't fear the devil. You understand what I'm saying? Like, because the devil would most likely exist to those people that fear it, right, or fear him. So that's my whole thing. Like, I don't fear you, right? So I've already taken away your power from you, because there's nothing that you could do to me that would make me fear you, right? Or that would make me respect you even more or anything like that, right? So it's just one of those things. Again, right? When you look at the world and you see that everything is just one thing expressing itself in different ways, right? You'll realize that, yeah, one doesn't exist without the other, right? If it was daytime all the time everywhere, right? And if it was always bright, we wouldn't know what darkness was, right? If it was always sunny, right, we wouldn't know that water could come from the sky, right? So that's just what it is, man. That's just what it is. I do appreciate that, those points, though, Vincent Smith. You're making a lot of really great points. As a matter of fact, my mother's maiden name is Smith as well. So big up yourself. My sisters from my mother's side, who were very, very young, they actually took on my mother's last name. So big up yourself, Mr. Vincent Smith. Thank you so much for sharing, and I really do love this dialogue. Herbert Gauze says, what's the devil? I'm not entirely sure, but maybe the devil is the ego. Because the devil is the useless part of religion, says Reagan Riggs. It could be, man. You could be right about that. God is definitely worse than, okay, he says God is worse than the devil to him. Elaborate on that, please. I would like to know more about what your perspective is, because how do we know that it's not one and the same, right? You have positive and you have negative. That's just what the world is. Vincent Smith says they don't believe in hate. That is the devil. That's what drives people to hate. Please learn about ego, and he only comes for people that are finding God. That's when he really attacks you. Big up yourself for that perspective. The valley of the shadow of death is your ego. So, okay. So, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. So that's a metaphor, or that's metaphorically speaking of the ego. Is that what you're saying? Chirac says, I don't believe in God. I believe in science. Well, I mean, um, science doesn't prove everything, right? And there's a lot of theories in science as well, right? There are a lot of theories as well. Even though you think that science is proving everything, no, right? Even the Big Bang Theory is just a theory, right? There are a lot of things in science that are just theories. Like, for instance, people saying that um, water has only been on the planet for like several billion years. Like, who know who how do you? There's no way for you to really prove that, right? There's no way for you to prove that when water came here, or what the earth was before water or any of that sort of stuff. These are all just theories. But yeah, big up to science. Science has brought a lot to civilization, but science hasn't even began to crack the actual code of the universe. It has not even began to really explore, so many things that are out there that science doesn't know yet. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, to each their own. But big up to science and big up to God. Herbert Goss says, "Where's the proof of the devil and God?" Honestly, I don't know. So, you know, I believe energy can't be created nor destroyed, right? I believe in the universe. I don't have any proof, right? God is just a word that I use interchangeably whenever I'm talking about the universe or whenever I'm talking about energy. I use the term God, right? So that's sort of my saying, because that's the way how other people would kind of understand what it is that I'm saying. Because if I just come and say, "Oh yeah, I had a conversation with energy," people are gonna be like, "Yo, what are you talking about?" But yeah, I guess everyone's actual concept of God might have like different characteristics. But if God is omnipresent, if God is omnipresent, that means he's everywhere, right? And if God is omnipotent, right, all powerful, then if God is omnipresent, that means he is everywhere, including inside of each and every one of us, right? So that's energy, right? And you can't power anything without energy at all. So energy is also all powerful. So there you go. So that's just how I look at it, right? Everybody doesn't necessarily have to look at it the same. Let me read some more of these comments because you guys are absolutely amazing. I really appreciate you guys. Keep smashing that like button and subscribing to the channel, because we have dialogue like this all the time, and I really appreciate all these new and different perspectives. You know what I mean? And I feel happy whenever I do see you guys engaging and asking and saying things, so that I could kind of challenge it with my perspective. And but it's one of those things. It's not about being right or wrong, right? It's just about the experience that we're both having, the unique experience, and just sharing our unique experiences with one another. Hi, it's Nacho Libre. I'm just playing. Okay. You might think God is worse or scarier because he has more power. I'm not a religious man, but I do believe God has more power than the devil. Um, that again is if they are does a positive charge have more power than a negative charge? I think it's about perspective, right? And that's if you know because all right, so take us as human beings, right? We have the power to do positive things and we have power to do negative things. If God is all powerful, then the devil doesn't exist without God, right? So God created the devil, right? If we're going by traditional religion, right? The devil would not have existed without God, right? So if God created the devil, then does the devil now exist outside, independent of God, right? Does God not show characteristics, right? Because when they say, God is a jealous God, how can somebody that's all right, that does right, be jealous of anyone, right? And why would God be jealous of things that he created? So I don't know. Maybe, right? In theory, let's just say theoretically, God and the devil are the same being, right? Theoretically, right? But again, it's one of those things. I don't give too much power to the devil. I don't. Yeah, I don't give too much power to the devil. I don't fear the devil. You know what I mean? So once you don't fear the devil, that's also another aspect of things where it's like, how can he control you if nothing that he can do to you would make you fear him? You understand what I'm saying? So there's that school of thought as well. Someone says, "I'm an atheist, bro. Make me a believer." I'm not here to change your belief. I'm not here to tell you to believe in anything, right? I accept the fact that you believe in whatever it is that you believe in. I'm okay with that. As long as you're not going out hurting other people or going out, being a detriment, right? I don't have an issue with anything that it is that you believe. Your belief is what you have to live with. Your beliefs at the end of the day, right? I don't have to live with the beliefs that you have. You understand what I'm saying? So if you choose to be that way, then go ahead, right? As far as being again, it's just one of those things. Like, I don't put myself into any box to say I'm a this or I'm a that. I'm not an atheist. I'm not a religious person, right? I do believe in something, right? I do believe in something, but even then, belief is something that's really a third dimensional concept, right? So that's my way of communicating to you what I know to be true to me. You understand what I'm saying? And what I believe, again, how I'm communicating with you, to be the universal truth of everything. He says, that's why I rock with science. So why should I believe in this BS? I'm not trying to convert you. Reagan says, there's no proof when you believe in religion. It's faith. Absolutely. It's faith. It's faith. Walk by faith, not by sight. Is that not the term? Prove it, or it is your opinion. Faith is the process of non-thinking. I think he's talking to Regan Riggs when he's saying that. And if he's omniscient, I don't know what it is you're trying to say. What means he can read my thoughts? And that's weird to say out of my head. Okay. That's a new term. I haven't heard omniscient before. But yeah, all powerful. If he's omnipotent and omnipresent, right? Then yeah. But again, it's not one of those things where, all right, he's reading the thoughts in your head, right? Like, you are the observer of the thoughts that are in your head, right? So God is the observer. So the observer is observing everyone else, right? Not just you, right? But you could tap into the observer in yourself and be able to watch those thoughts and just watch the thoughts. Just, all right. So this morning when I sat here and I meditated, right? I didn't even sit there. I don't meditate like how everyone meditates. Sometimes I just lay flat on my back, right? Not necessarily like this, but I just lay flat on my back, get comfortable, put my hands somewhere, maybe put my hands on my belly, put my wherever feels just comfortable to me, right? And I will just observe my thoughts, right? Whatever the thoughts are that I'm having, I'll just observe it from a completely different perspective. So even if it's something that's bothering me, even if it's something that's making me upset, right? I observe it from a perspective that is not a perspective that is my ego, right? And that's the best way that I could really describe it in this moment, right? So I'm just observing these thoughts without have an emotional attachment to it. You understand what I'm saying? It's happening, and I'm observing it without an emotional attachment. And sometimes I'll come back into the 3D, and I will allow myself to feel the love that's coming from some of the good situations, right? And I would feel how it would be healing my body from the inside to the outside. So yeah, we need facts, not opinions, says Herbert Gauss. So what are the facts that you have, Herbert Gauss? Because again, a lot of science, a lot of the Big Bang Theory, people say is science, that is a theory. A lot of these things that we think are fact are actually theory, right? And we haven't even really began. We don't know, to how vast, how big the universe is, and how big we think the little knowledge that we have, that's not even a dot on a greater magnitude of things, right? We don't have proof of anything, really. Right? We don't really have proof of anything. So there's that. And again, my truth is my truth. Your truth is your truth. This is what I believe to be true. And again, belief is really a third dimensional concept, right? They're just on higher dimension. It just is what it is, right? He says, Reagan, huh? Yeah, we have Reagan Riggs, and now we have Reagan. That's refreshing, says Buddha Hat. 2 Reagans. Yes, we do have 2 Reagans, and I actually do remember the other Reagan as well. I actually thought you guys were the same person at one point. Because there's some batshit crazy religious folk here. Nah, I don't think there's any crazy, whatever you said, religious folk here, to be completely honest with you. I think everyone here is really objective. Herbert just wants answers to what it is that the questions that he's asking. I don't think he's batshit crazy atheist either. I think he's just an individual that has a lot of questions that he wants answered. He said, who said that? Reagan, I guess. What it's no proof, says my guy Herbert Gauze. I'm sorry. What's going on here? What is this? Relax. If you get worried, scared, have hate, anger, then you have the devil in you, as God doesn't allow these things under him. Well, when you say God doesn't allow these things under him, God gives you free will, does he not? Yes, hate, anger, these are all negative emotions, absolutely. But does God not allow people to have free will? Does God not allow people to feel how they feel? Right? He doesn't just intervene and says, hey, listen, I'm going to cast you in eternal damnation because you were angry or whatever, right? So it's just one of those things where it's like, yeah, these are emotions and people feel these emotions from time to time. The objective is not to dwell in those emotions. Don't stay in those emotions for no period of time, for no long period of time, because it will cause more damage, not only to who you feel like you're hurting, but to yourself. And ultimately, you will cease to exist if you keep that sort of emotion inside of you as well. I know the brain can fool you, says Herbert Gauze. Christopher Hitchens once said, assertion made without evidence can be dismissed without evidence. He was at the extreme end of atheist scale, but that's essentially the position of an atheist. Okay. All right. Very well said. I can appreciate that. Omniscient means knowing everything. Okay, thank you so much. I've learned a new omni. So it's not just omnipresent, right? Or omnipotent. There is also omniscient, and I'm sure there are more omnis as well. But if you're already all powerful, then doesn't everything like come after all powerful? Like if you're all powerful, then that means you're just all powerful, right? So you could just do all things. Not really sure why we need more omnis than all powerful, to be honest with you, but I guess, yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. Omniscient. That's a remarkable phrase. So he says, in science, scientists develop a hypothesis and they test it to prove the likelihood of the theory. Yes, I can get with that. They test it to prove the likelihood of the theory. Yes, but there is so much that we still do not know. We haven't even really cracked the surface of any of this stuff yet. It's still theory of gravity because they can't prove it, I suppose. Yeah, right? But again, you, Mr. Smith, said that you only believe in science, right? Even though you know that they can't prove it. Theory of evolution. Again, another theory, evolution, but no one can name one animal that evolved, not one. Well, everything kind of adapts, right, to certain climates and stuff like that. I think human beings, we kind of look at ourselves the way how we kind of evolve throughout time and evolve, through different concepts, different social constructs, different races, all of that sort of stuff. But yeah, these are all, again, theory, right? These are all theory, even though it's science. You ain't flicking thrust these YouTube streams, bro. That's what I was referring to. Oh, you ain't flicking through, I believe he's trying to say. The other crazies hosting religious streams. Oh, that's what you're talking about. Yeah, you're not going to get too much of that here, to be completely honest with you. That's not why I'm here. I'm not to add further division to the world that's already divided, right? I want people to really get to understand that we are all one. And I keep talking about COVID and how one person caught COVID all the way on the other corner of the earth. And that person that caught COVID it started something that shut down the entire globe, right? So that's how interconnected we are. That's how we are one, right? Because we're made up of the same stuff. That person caught COVID and it became something that's contagious, right? So I think we need to start being a lot more empathetic to one another, and a lot more understanding. Omnipotent power, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Omnipotent meaning everywhere. So omni is the phrase for or something. Theories work. You don't understand what a theory is, said Craig. Michael, please enlighten us so that we can understand better from perspective, right? So guys, so here's the thing. We don't all know everything, right? And and even when we do know something, we're not always able to verbalize it or to communicate it in words, right? So even though we might think we know, or we might know exactly what it is that we know, in order to really communicate that for other people to understand, sometimes things can get lost in translation from that dimension into this dimension. So please be patient. And if you know something, and if you could say something a little bit better than the other person, then we're all for it, right? Like, this isn't something where we have to argue at all with one another. Like, that's not what we're about. It's about understanding and sharing perspective and having dialogues, which I can really appreciate the growth in the dialogue. I think there are a lot of extremely intelligent people in here, and I really appreciate that, right? Oftentimes we'll have like a lot of trolls, right? And I don't mind the trolls, but they got to make sure it's funny. If it's something like extremely like abusive or hateful, then I'll just ban them. Vincent says, I don't believe in science. Raul Amin Rased, what's going on, my guy? Hello, how you doing, man? I'm doing well. Thank you for asking, Amin. I really appreciate that. Thank you for coming back. Great to have you back. We've been having a fantastic conversation. I'm probably going to be another 15 minutes before I get up out of here, because I like these streams to be at the very minimum just an hour long, and then I just go on about my day. I may be back again another time before I come back at 11:30 tonight. Stream life. I actually love these. I love having conversations with you guys. This is my tribe. My tribe is everywhere, right? This is our tribe. They were different creatures before they evolved. Oh, is that what you mean? When you say different creatures, I don't particularly know. And again, it's very difficult to really prove any of these things, right? They talk about our DNA being like only 1% different from like apes and stuff like that. I don't know how they're able to really prove that. I guess they'll say we're proving it through science. But yeah, I don't. We're all just energy expressing itself in different ways. That's the only thing that I know for sure. Selection. I'm not entirely sure what's happening with my Wi-Fi connection, so I don't know what just took place just now. Sorry about that, Wi-Fi connection. So I don't know what just took place just now. Sorry about that, guys. Um, let me see if I can hear it. Okay, cool, 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 cool. All right, we are back. Sorry about that, guys. But yeah, I completely forgot natural selection. Um, yeah, so even time, right? Because there's only but so much that we could kind of fit into a lifespan, right? A person's lifespan, right? And there's but so much information that's consciously passed down from one generation to the next generation, that we don't understand that, yeah, we don't know anything, right? Even with climate change, like, we don't really know what climate it was 200 years ago, right? We just feel as if this is the climate that it's always been in the region that we're at. And yeah, the world doesn't really work like that. So when things do change, people tend to be alarmed, because they're like, hey, it wasn't like before. But we don't really know how things really were back then, before we started having this third dimensional experience. So yeah, there is that. So you're absolutely right where that's concerned. Yeah. Just around 10,000. There weren't animal biologists around 10,000 years ago. You're absolutely right about that. So not every conspiracy is crazy. Nah, Buddha Hot, you're absolutely right, man. Buddha Hot, I really like your perspective, and I want you to subscribe to this channel, because I like the fact that you're challenging my beliefs. You're challenging the beliefs of other people around, and I guarantee you, you know, you're gonna help make this channel a better channel. You're gonna make us better. We're gonna make you better as well, with the perspective that we have. So I appreciate all of these perspectives, man, and I appreciate these challenges and people challenging one another and not just accepting what other people are saying. Like, yeah, you know, that's the way it should be, right? Because you also have a perspective yourself. So until somebody is able to say, hey, listen, no, your perspective is inaccurate, right? Because this is how this actually happened, and you're able to actually have some sort of proof or able to convince somebody that the way how they're looking at things is maybe a little flawed. I think, yeah, I think that's healthy. You know what I mean? I think that's really healthy. So Buddha Hat says, one day at work, years ago, a dude said to me, every day is a school day. Ooh, Buddha Hat, man, with all these wise words. And I have believed that ever since. I respect your openness to learning new things. That's how we all grow. My guy, my guy. I gotta clap it up for you, man. I really appreciate that. That is profound. That is remarkable. Thank you so much. Hey, man, I've got to go, but I'll try to join later. Reagan Riggs, thank you so much for all the help. I really appreciate you. Big shout outs to yourself. Have a phenomenal day. Remember to keep your frequency, keep your vibration high, regardless of what happens throughout the day. Always remember to just come back into balance, right? And just be at ease and at peace, you know, with life. Science is their way of trying to say God doesn't exist. Basically, that's backfiring on their butts. They just found human footprints alongside dinosaur footprints. That's impossible, apparently. Well, we can't determine when those footprints were, can we? But yeah, I guess it doesn't mean that they both, you know, because there could be footprints that were there several thousand years ago, and I could go now with a pair of Nike boots and go stand right next to it. You know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily mean we were there at the same time. But I do respect that perspective that you have. It seems as if conspiracy is a conspiracy nowadays. Yes, they can. In same rock. He says, no, you can't. Says Vincent. Elaborate, Vincent. Let us know what it is that we can't do. I really appreciate you guys, man. Thank you so much. My tea is done. Probably going to make a little bit more tea before I go to work. Vincent says, same rock, same level on the same rock. Okay. I guess. I suppose. But a lot of things are going to be lost in translation from those times until now. But I do appreciate that perspective. I may have to look into that. Maybe you should post your source so I could read it for myself, right? Anyway, before I go, guys, if you got any, bye, mate, I'm getting too passionate. Smith. Michael Craig says, Smith, you crazy. If you guys got any songs that you're going to request that I should listen to, make sure it's something, you know, some high frequency, some high vibe songs, or maybe 432 hertz or something like that, something real smooth. You know, if you guys got any song suggestions, let me know. Bam says, you look like my cousin Marion. Maybe I'm Marion. Who knows? Man. He says your mama crazy. That's funny, but it's not funny. Wow, he says she actually is. Guys, come on. We were having such a phenomenal stream. We were having a troll free stream, which I never have a troll free stream. And now you guys have gone to your mama. Come on, man. You guys are doing so well. And then Vincent says, I know. Bam says we call him Junior, so your cousin Junior. Maybe you should subscribe to your cousin's channel and like your cousin's video. Your cousin's video is gonna end in about 6 minutes. Hey, Vincent says fight. I love it, man. I could always appreciate some good banter. Like, that's my thing. I really appreciate some. It just adds such flair and flavor to life. You know what I mean? And I think people ought to be able to take jokes and not take things so seriously a lot of times. But unless we're just saying things that, because you could kind of feel the energy behind certain things that people say. And if you are feeling that sort of energy, or it's making people feel some sort of energy, then it's probably best to just stop. You know what I mean? He says, I never go on these things. It's fun. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right about that, man. Those things are absolutely fun. Remarkably fun, to be completely honest with you. Man, man, man. Hold on, guys. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Someday, when my life has passed me by. 325 subscribers now. Make sure you guys are subscribing to the channel, guys. And liking the video as well. But we've been growing at a very remarkable pace, man. I really appreciate that. I can really grow to appreciate that. You guys have been phenomenal. In the last like week, the last 2 weeks for sure, we went up like 140 subscribers, something insane like that. I really appreciate that. Really lets me know that people like what it is that we're doing here, like what it is that we're talking about. He says, yeah, no evil, godless people, please, are atheists. He says, no evil, godless people, or please, are atheists. To be honest with you, man, people kind of float in and out of like good or evil, right? People like even good people do some wicked things sometimes where I'm like, whoa, didn't you say you were this or you were that? You know what I mean? So yeah, if it's people that are out here like just causing havoc and wreaking havoc and pain, and they're just spreading messages of hatred, then yeah, we can't have that. We absolutely will not have people who are not empathetic and are just low vibrational. You know what I mean? I do appreciate all the dialogue from you though, Vincent Smith. Stream is coming to an end in about 3 minutes and 15 seconds, guys. I'm just gonna make this an hour-long stream, and then I'm going to bounce because I do need to get ready. I do need to get ready and get up out of here because I'm headed to Long Island. But yeah, so some things that I did learn from this stream, and I kind of had an idea about this, but now that you're talking about the ego, says let's be horrible today. Their ego says let's be horrible today. We're talking about the ego, but yeah, as far as the ego and the relationship between the ego and the devil, that was something that sort of occurred to me a while back, but this stream reiterated that. Thrifty Simplicity says, I like your vibe. Well, thank you so much, Thrifty Simplicity. Please subscribe to the channel. Please subscribe to the channel. And I like your vibe as well, even though you just said that. Even that's the only thing you said. I do appreciate that. I appreciate the good energy. Always remember to keep your vibration high as well, guys. Please remember to do that. Once I get to 500 stream, because my mom, right? My mom is always telling me to cut my beard. Now, every now and then, like, I'll grow my beard for like 6 months. I never went past like 7 months with having a beard. And I think now I've probably had a beard since what, March? I think the last time I shaved was like February, March. It's like it's approaching like 6 months now. I think when I get to 500 subscribers, I'm going to think about having a competition that once I get to 1,000 subscribers, I'll cut my beard. It's not that big of a deal to me because it's going to grow back. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think at some point I will do that. He says, Engineer Gaming says, can you sing Gangnam Style? Oppa Gangnam Style. Okay, kinfolk, y'all have a wonderful day. Thank you so much, Bam. And you guys tap in. I want to actually, get to know you guys. If you guys want, you could follow me on Instagram, right? I'm gonna show you guys what my Instagram page is, right? So if you guys type in Fortune4T3, right? That's me on Instagram, Fortune4T3. So if you guys do want to connect outside of YouTube or whatever it is, feel free to do so. If you are on Instagram, I don't really use Instagram to do much other than like to kind of just post like kind of motivating stuff or maybe something that's funny. So yeah, guys, if you want to, you can go ahead and follow me on IG as well. And thank you so much, Bam. You have a pleasant, wonderful, fantastic day as well. Everyone have a fantastic day. Once you get a beard and shave it off, you lose your manhood. Apparently, be Oh man, I hope I'll still be the same person or a more evolved person. But people tend to treat me sort of differently when I have a beard versus when I don't have a beard, because people think I'm way younger than I actually am once I do cut my beard. But yeah, for the most part, it doesn't make you any less of a man not having a beard. Yes, my goal today was to get one streamer to sing Gangnam Style. Thanks so much. I'll sub. Yo pop Gangnam Style. Oh, yo pop Gangnam Style. I don't really know what it is that does for you, but there you go. I only have YouTube. I'm scared to get other apps increase in case I get addicted and life passes me by. Yeah, I just don't spend a lot of time on the other apps. I got things to do. But anyway, guys, the stream has come to an end. Right, a couple seconds, about a minute late. Anyway, just keep your vibration high right throughout the day. If anybody knocks you off of your vibration, always remember to come back into balance. I'll be back later for sure at 11:30 tonight. I may stream again once I'm in Long Island, so guys, be on the lookout for that and have a wonderful, fantastic day. I'm gonna tap in with you guys. Maybe we'll have lunch together. Maybe we'll have lunch together today. All right, guys, take care. Bye bye.